Okay, welcome back to the next lesson. Congratulations. Keep on going. This is worth it. You're going to be able to impress your friends and amaze your family and dazzle members of the opposite sex by being able to diagram sentences, and you're going to be able to have a better grip on your language. In this lesson, I'm going to introduce modifiers. All right, modifiers modify stuff. Modifiers modify nouns. Modifiers modify verbs, etc., etc., etc. Great. But before we do that, as usual, we want to do a little bit of revision. What is a sentence? Can you give me a definition of a sentence? A sentence is a CT, a complete thought. A sentence is a complete thought. We know, we can feel in our souls if a thought is incomplete, if a sentence is not a sentence. Great. But what are the two parts of a sentence? If a sentence is missing either one of these parts of a sentence, it is nothing. It is a sentence fragment. What are the two parts? S and P. Subject and predicates. Those are the essential parts of any sentence. If not, it is a mere sentence fragment. What are the questions we ask to identify a subject? This is really important. This is going to be a sword in your hand to cut the otherwise Gordian knot of grammar, sentence grammar. The question is to identify the subject is who or what, followed by the verb. The dog growls. Who or what growls? The dog. The subject is the dog. How do we identify the predicate? We ask the question. Subject, what? The dog, what? The dog growls. What is the predicate? The predicate is growls. What must a predicate always contain? A predicate must always contain, yes, a predicate must always contain a verb. Always, always, always. What are the two types of verbs? Good verbs and bad verbs. Decepticon verbs and Autobot verbs, or the other way around. No, the two types of verbs are, yes, equals verbs, or linking verbs as everybody else in the world calls them, or Stallone verbs, action verbs. How do we tell if an equals verb is an equals verb? Well, if it's the verb to be, it's an equals verb, or the test is replace the verb with an equal sign and see if it fundamentally changes the sentence. How do we know for certain that an action verb is an action verb? Well, if it's kind of actiony, then it's an action verb, but otherwise we replace the verb with an equal sign, and if it totally changes and messes up the meaning of a sentence, it is, in fact, an action verb. All right, let's move on. Here we have a glorious sentence, and we're going to gloriously diagram it. Awesome. The old fox jumped. This is quite a sentence, I think you'll agree. First thing, subject. What's the subject? Who or what verbed? Who or what jumped? The answer is the old fox jumped. The subject is the old fox. Now, we're only going to diagram for the fox jumped, the underlined part. So I'm going to write fox here. Fox, subject. Space, 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 just to give me some room. One less space. Subject what to identify the predicate. Subject what? Subject jumped. The old fox jumped. Jumped is the predicate. A predicate must always contain a verb. Correct. Jumped. Fox jumped. By the way, what are two of the three types of words that are allowed on the baseline? Can you remember? Nouns and verbs. Great. Let's draw the baseline. Great. This is our baseline. B-A-S-E. Great. What's this other line called that intersects at right angles? The baseline? Almost right angles. It's the predicate line. This is the subject. This is the predicate. Awesome. Great. All right. This leaves us two extra leftover words. Right. The topic of this lesson was, do you remember, modifiers? These words modify something. Well, first of all, the old fox. What words does the and old, do the and old modify? Modifies fox. Okay. Now, a modifier is diagrammed beneath the baseline on a diagonal line. Great, let's have a look at this. I'm going to draw our first one here, being very careful. Awesome, good. Which fox? The answer is the fox. The is a determiner. It's also an article. That's beautiful handwriting. I think you'll agree. So our modifiers are drawn on a line like that, a diagonal line facing towards the right, below the baseline and below the word which they modify. And we also write them in the order they appear in the sentence. So first the, and another modifier would be, let's have a look, what kind of fox? What kind of fox? Answer, the old fox. Perfect. That's it, folks. There we have a turbocharged sentence diagram. We're really making progress. Okay, we're looking at modifiers. Modifiers are diagrammed where? They're diagrammed underneath the baseline, underneath the word that they modify, in the order in which they're presented, in which they appear in the sentence. Now, we can tell by looking at this a lot of things. We can tell, for instance, on this side we have the subject. Great, always the subject. On this side we have on the right side we have the predicate. Always the predicate there. Great. Now we know that only nouns and verbs are allowed on the baseline. These underneath can't be nouns or verbs. What are they? Well, they're modifiers. The is a determiner. Let's not worry too much about what a determiner is. Another determiner might be a or an, etc. Right, old. Well, old is a more general and a more useful type of word. It is it's an adjective. Old is an adjective. Old is an adjective. The question is, what is an adjective? An adjective modifies a noun. An adjective modifies a noun, that's correct. Okay, great. We've learned a lot. We're going to try to put that in practice again. Great. The sentence is, the angry teacher shouted. This has happened to me. I will admit it. And I think the last time it happened was sometime in Mexico, but the classic case was me shouting and roaring at kindergarten children in Korea. All right, I apologize for that. That was totally unprofessional, totally uncalled for. All right, mea culpa. Great. The sentence is, the angry teacher shouted. Let's split this into subject and predicate. We're only going to diagram these two words. Teacher shouted. Great. Subject. How do we find the subject? We ask who or what, followed by the verb. The verb is shouted. Who shouted? Teacher shouted. Great. Teacher is our subject. The predicate answers the question, who or what. The predicate answers the question, subject what? Subject, teacher. Shouted. Shouted is our predicate. Shouted is our predicate. Right. We're ready to draw the lines. We're ready to go. Super. What's this line called? It's the baseline. What is the name of the line which separates the subject from the predicate? Being drawn intersecting the baseline at right angles. It's called the predicate line. Great. What is this? What is the teacher? The teacher is the subject. In terms of the sentence, subject. In terms of the sentence, what is shouted? Shouted is the predicate. Great. Subject, predicate, predicate line, baseline. We're doing very well. All right. Now, we have two words left over, the and angry. We've already learnt from the previous lesson that the is a determiner. Words like the and etc. are determiners. But they're both modifiers. Where do we draw the modifiers? Below the word which they modify, drawn on a diagonal line facing towards the right. So let's do that in the order in which they appear. Which teacher? The teacher. Brilliant. Now, what kind of teacher? The angry teacher. And sometimes teachers do get angry. At least I can edit out any angry moments here. All right, so here we go. The angry teacher shouted. Immediately we can see where the subject is, where the predicate is, where the modifiers are. We can easily identify an adjective, for instance. Now, what is the definition of an adjective? What is the definition of an adjective? An adjective modifies a noun. Adjectives modify nouns. Another question. Yes, I want to know, what is a noun? Can you give me a definition of a noun? Noun. Can you give me a definition? A good definition of a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Can you think of a person? Lady Gaga. Oh. A place. Bristol. A thing. A cup. An idea. Jealousy. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. What is the name of words which modify nouns? Adjectives. Adjectives modify nouns. They modify nothing else. So, hope you're enjoying that. Keep on going. We're going to really master this whole business of the grammar of a sentence and sentence diagramming. So join me in the next video. Thanks for watching. This video was part of a course that normally costs $29.99 at udemy.com. But click the link below and you get the course for only $9.99, a 66% saving. The course has all the exercises you need to master basic sentence diagramming and sentence grammar. So, click now for lifetime access with a 30-day money-back guarantee.